Hey, check it out, Z.E.R.T Nation and Z.E.R.T Michigan. Mr. X here. Right now, I'm sitting here I'm gonna talk about the Detroit, the Dead in Detroit little event that we had a couple weeks ago. Finally got in here to headquarters. I was able to talk to XP001 and Gambler about it, give him my AAR comments, and talked about the pros and the cons, just like out there. I do this in every one of my classes, guys. You know, the good and the bad. I love the bad. You know, I'm not like I like doing bad things. But the fact of the matter is, every time you guys are able to point out the bad in AAR comments, that just helps us improve Z.E.R.T classes and make them better for the next time I come to Detroit, or, you know, whatever state or city is in. And yeah, like I said, we can just make these classes better. I'm not one of these guys that think that I know everything and, you know, I can improve just like everybody else. But first of all, I want to say, well, second, since I just spoke for the last couple minutes, I want to say thank you for Michigan Z.E.R.T members for having me, and everybody around that state that went to the event. Dead in Detroit 2 was awesome. I had a great time. Ended up flying into Detroit Thursday morning. I got there late Thursday afternoon. Met a bunch of the guys at the range. They were still setting up the range. So I had a few, they had a few Z.E.R.T members out there starting to camp, and it was at a farm, for those of you guys that don't know the event, and they had a berm set up, wood set up that we could shoot in, basically for the backings of targets, so on and so on. So a lot of these events, guys, I mean, just the coordination, it was kind of funny just sitting around, talking to these guys, getting to know them. You know, they were feeling me out, I was feeling them out, you know, the first day. And it was kind of funny. Was the range the best possible scenario? Absolutely not. But it was lessons learned for them, lessons learned for me. You know, part of that, hey, if I'm coming to the event, this is kind of what I'm looking for. You know, so on and so on. But the range was actually set up when, come to find out, the person that designed the range, the person that engineered the range, the person that was there with the bobcat or the heavy machinery, the person that was in charge of putting in the wood, this was like 3 different guys. They had very minimal talk within each other, and that just proved right there how important like communication is and coordinations and so on and so on. So did we make it work? Hell yeah, we made it work. Z.E.R.T members always make it work. You know, most of the instructors make this stuff work. Could have been a little bit better, absolutely, but we made it happen. It was still mission success at the end of the day. But a couple hiccups with initially the range, you know, just looking at the way it was laid out. We ended up, you know, shooting those 2 days with the amount of rounds we put down range. We had to kind of staple most of the targets on telephone poles. Well, of course, after the first day, we noticed, well, it's probably not that smart to staple these targets. You know, the center of the target on the telephone pole. No kidding. I think we probably had like 4 or 5 telephone poles that were sheared off where we were shooting, just because of the magnitude of fire that we had going down range at the time. So by the second day, of course, we started stapling the sides of the targets on the telephone poles. Should have did that from the very beginning. My fault. I'll take the hit on that, especially when we're out there, you know, tearing up the range that they want to use, you know, for, you know, future events, so on and so on. But the range wasn't that big of an issue. You know, had a beautiful farm out there that they had, you know, everybody camping out, plenty of porta-johns. You know, won't discuss, actually I will probably discuss the weather a little bit, but that's a little bit later on. But like I said, the facility was great. It's far enough out in the country that I don't think we were really bothering too many people, except for the issues that we did have with a couple calls. But hey, you know, some people just don't like guns, and that's just the way it is, and we all deal with that on a daily basis. I had the actual schedule written up. One of the things I'm going to do, a lot of the members are asking for my POI that I put together. I'll put a condensed version of that on the Michigan page, just so you guys can see all the drills and everything that we can do, just because I realize, guys, it's drinking through a fire hose. You guys were out there. For those of you that don't know, basically, like I said, Friday did a little meet and greet, and got to know the people, especially the guys setting up the range and the guys that were actually setting up Dead in Detroit. But Friday evening, I got to tell you, and this is a standard for every ZERT organization and squadron and state out there. You know, not to drop a dime or not to piss anybody off in these other states, but the food that they had in Detroit was amazing. And I told Detroit I wasn't going to say anything because I don't want all these other ZERT instructors wanting to go to Detroit next year. And I was going to talk about how bad the food was and how horrible it was, just so XP001 isn't going to go next year. But Friday night, we had a steak, or I had a steak that was probably the best steak I've ever had in my life. Saturday night, the hamburgers were amazing. And I mean, it was just some of the best food I ever had. You know, and I'll tell you straight up, after Saturday, all I wanted to do was go to bed after, you know, teaching 12 hours. But I was honestly looking forward to hanging out with everybody, eating chow, having fun, telling stories, and getting to know everybody. And that's just the way that it should be in every class. And most of the classes are like that. And I get with Gambler and I try to schedule. It doesn't work all the time just because, you know, flights are flights. But we try to schedule flights a little bit later just so I can hang out, you know, do the little meet and greet and the after class, just, you know, hanging out with the, you know, everybody that's training and people that are organizing the event. And that was probably one, you know, and, you know, Pennsylvania did it really well a couple months ago. They were all at a campsite and, or I'm sorry, I think it was Missouri. We all was hanging out at this campsite after the class. Pennsylvania does a really good job. Every state does a good job. And when I think it can't get any better, you know, I go to Detroit and it surprises me. Honestly, I didn't even know what to think going to Detroit. I packed up more ammo just because, you know, I'm hanging out. In Detroit, you're thinking, you know, gangbangers and this and that. And of course, you know, the guys are joking around. I was like, hey man, what is there to do on a Friday night? Like, oh, go down to, you know, 8th Mile Drive, hang out down there. And I was on my way heading down there and they're like, hey, we're kidding. That's definitely not where you want to go. You know, just because, I don't know, I didn't see that crap in the movie, you know, with Eminem and 8th Mile or anything. But I guess it's a pretty bad part, you know, part of town. But hey, we were joking around, had a great time. If you guys ever go to the Michigan Post, there's a lot of comments that are made just because of the stuff that happened in this class and, you know, like one-liners and stuff. So it's a great group of guys. But yeah, Friday night was great. Had a pretty half-decent hotel room, you know, XP001 and Gambler had, you know, HQ squared me away. Hotel really wasn't that far. It was closer to the airport than it was to the range, but it's like a 20-minute drive every day to the range and back, so it really wasn't that bad. But woke up Saturday morning. First class was a pistol class. Started at 7:30 and went to 1:30, so I had 6 hours working on pistol. After that, had about a 30-minute lunch break. I think it was a little bit longer, but started a rifle class from 2 to 8. So I'm basically on the range for 12 hours. And then the next day, the exact same schedule. Pistol, 7:30 to 1:30. Rifle, 2 to 8, 12 hours. So I can tell you, ZERT Nation, all you other states or Detroit, if you want that again or if you want that class, it ain't happening. I'm never doing anything like that again. 24 hours of teaching in 48 hours is not happening. So Mr. Blue, the guy that scheduled that class, we already had a conversation. In case you're watching that, you're dead to me. You know, for scheduling this like this. You know, it was I really don't mind it that bad. It's a great thing to say, you know, hey, I did it. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, hopefully the students got something out of it. It was mission success. You know, I was able to teach a class like that. Honestly, you know, I'm not a small guy. I like to eat. But, you know, we were having such a good time and it went so fast with all the drills that we were doing that I honestly lost track of time. I literally lost track of time the first class of the second day, and I cut it an hour early just because I had no idea what time it was. But I apologized to the class, and I was like, hey man, if you guys want to do another hour, that's fine. Half the students were like, dude, we have enough here. We can't even comprehend half the stuff you're teaching us just because it's, you know, just an overload of information, and that's what I like to do, give you guys too much information. But I had 4 guys that stuck around, kind of switched it up, did a little pro timer, a little speed work. Hopefully they got something out of that. But basically my pistol and my rifle classes almost mirrored each other, which I kind of like that, going from pistol to rifle in the afternoon, just because a lot of the drills that we do, of course you can't do every drill the same, because on this side you got a pistol, on this side you got a rifle. I mean, you can't do, you know, switching from your strong side to your support side, so on and so on. The rifle is, of course, different than it is with the pistol. But a lot of the drills, the now drill, you know, the rhythm drill, a lot of the stuff that we do, whether you're doing ready ups from Ranger Battalion, so on and so on, is, yeah, turn that air conditioning up. I don't care if it's going over or not. I'm dying in here. A lot of the drills that we did every day was the same, just because muscle memory is muscle memory. And I had it saved on my computer. I was actually going to go down the drills. I can't find it right now. I do have it printed out on a piece of paper that I will get to you guys from Z.E.R.T. But hey, you know, whenever I teach these classes, I'm one of these that, you know, I've seen instructors out there, and it's the whole say as I do, or do as I say, not as I do. You know, that's the cool thing about Z.E.R.T is most of the Z.E.R.T instructors, if not all of them, everyone that I've seen and I've shot with, they'll go out there and they'll do every one of these drills. Do I mess up sometimes? Absolutely. Sometimes I have an off day. Sometimes I have an off drill. I'm out there practicing and learning and training right there beside you guys. I'm trying to get better. That's why I do the drills that I impose during these classes. So we start with select drills, you know, like the now drill. I usually do the now drill again, just working on certain fundamentals after I bring them to light, and then from there it's magazine changes, you know, malfunctions. Just because anytime you guys have a malfunction from that point on, hey, this is what you need to be. It's not sitting there looking at your pistol when you have a malfunction. Work through the malfunction, whether it's a immediate action or remedial action. We work through different ways to do magazine changes, combat reloads, tac mag reloads. Plenty of different ways to do that, but I usually hit those early, and then I get into, you know, certain individual drills, whether they're moving and shooting, you know, facing movements, ready ups, what we used to call them in Ranger Battalion, or certain drills that are a little bit more intense. And then from that point, once everybody gets to a different, you know, up to that level, I start implementing compound exercises. Guys, I hate it when people talk about, you know, basic skills and advanced skills. The advanced stuff is just the basic stuff, you know, done better or done together, compound. And the cool thing about watching these classes, all 4 of these classes during these 2 days, and not everybody that signed up for pistol signed up for rifle. Some of them signed up for both. Some people signed up for rifle the first day and then pistol the next. Hey, it worked out. It was great. And but the cool thing about this is you got to see these guys advance. And you know, some of these compound exercises that I would have shooting, you know, support hand, you know, while walking and reloading, and, you know, just all these compound stuff put together, you would have never dreamed about doing this stuff at the very beginning of the day. But as you're progressing through the day, you know, and these guys are keyholing certain targets, you know, inside certain targets, you know, you're sitting there watching this stuff, and it's like, holy cow. I mean, I sit back and I joke about it, but, you know, these guys will get done shooting. I was like, you guys shoot amazing. That's just a direct reflection of how amazing your instructor is. And yeah, I'm joking around, guys. It's all on you. But hey, as you guys see out there, I like to have fun. I joke around. We're always kidding around. Lord forbid you make a mistake. I'm going to dwell on it for about 5 seconds. Guys, I love it when you make mistakes. There's a lot of mistakes that are made at these ranges. You know, Detroit, guys, we're making a ton of mistakes. That's awesome. Every time you make a mistake on the range, and we talked about this, every time you make a mistake, everybody on that line should be learning from that one mistake you made. This is learning experiences. If I can learn from something that somebody did, it's not a mistake, is it? It's a learning experience. And that's what we need to do. The more you shoot, the more information that you're going to gather, the more mistakes, i.e. learning experiences, you're going to have, the better you're going to become. You know, you're not going to become any better sitting at home, you know, watching shooting videos on YouTube. Yeah, you can, you know, write some stuff down, you know, in a book and so on, but you guys need to get out there and shoot. You know, we talk about this all the time. Hey, I'm 1000% for you guys going out and taking Z.E.R.T classes. But when push comes to, you know, shove, as long as you guys are taking classes, I'm happy. You know, as long as they're from reputable instructors. There's a lot of instructors out there that all they're doing is regurgitating the information that they're getting from some of these great instructors. Hey, it's one thing to regurgitate information and having guys just shoot a ton of rounds on range, but if that instructor can't sit there and critique your shooting or be able to basically, what's the word I'm looking for, dissect your shooting in 5 seconds and give you 2 or 3 points to improve on, dude, move on to an instructor that's out that, you know, there's great shooters out there. There are guys that can go out there and shoot great and you can just sit there and watch them, but they don't know how to convey that information, or they don't necessarily know how to be able to watch you and be able to break down what you're doing or what you're not doing. And that's just to me the sign of a good instructor. And every time I teach a Z.E.R.T class, I think I'm becoming, you know, like I said before, I'm not that end all, that dude that does everything perfect every time. Dude, we're all learning, whether or not it's me learning to become a better instructor, and every time I teach a class I become a better instructor, so on and so on. You guys brought up a lot of key AAR comments at the end of the class. I do appreciate that. At the end of class, I always ask for a negative and a positive. Guys, seriously, when you break it down, I get a few negative comments in my class. I don't care what it is. You know, I hate to say it, one of the things this weekend was huge was weather. You can't do anything about the weather, but you can do certain things to set yourself up for success when it comes to the weather. These guys had canopy set up, so at least we were dry. Unfortunately, there was, you know, late Detroit out there by the end of the first day. For those of you guys that weren't there, pistol class, it was beautiful the entire day. I actually got a pretty bad sunburn because I didn't think, it's like, I'm in Detroit, I'm not in Las Vegas, what do I need sunblock for? So it was a little red, you know, right there at the receding hairline. But the you know, pretty much 3-4 hours into the rifle class, it was pretty much a pretty nice downpour. The guys drove on, you know, the students were great. There were a couple of times where we took a little bit longer to reload mags with the rifle, but hey, it is what it is. We still were able to fit all the drills in, and hopefully everybody gets their money's worth. Second day, beautiful day outside, high 70s, low 80s. It was nice, cool breeze. The only problem was at that point we had to deal with a whole heck of a lot of mud and a lake in the middle of our range. Hey, there's nothing you can do about that. Drive on. The students drove on. There was a couple of drills that we pushed in front of the lake, a couple of drills we pushed in the back of the lake. But everybody did great. Everybody shot great. And saying that, a few of the other AAR comments, you know, hey guys, some of you guys are pretty hard on yourself during these AARs, and don't think at any point that you're slowing down the line. You know, I'm doing drills here that beginner shooters hopefully get just as much, or experienced shooters get just as much out of it as beginner shooters. So these drills, you know, most of the stuff, it's go at your own pace. Other than the now drill, where I want you to shoot as fast as you can, you know, because I'm doing a initial assessment of you. I want you to pull that trigger from that, you know, as fast as you can. I'm checking out your shot group. I'm looking at the target. I'm watching how you're loading your gun, you know, your sequences. I'm watching your draw. I'm watching how you unload your gun, so on and so on. I'm watching and I'm seeing how experienced you are, you know, just in relation to everything. So out of the 10 shooters, you know, and I hate to say it, but when you're doing this long enough, you know, looking at what you're doing, I pretty much know what you're going to do wrong before you even do it, because I've taught that many classes, you know. But 9 times out of the 10, at that point, after everybody shoots the now drill, and that's a drill, you know, the testament of how amazing Mr. Blue is, he implemented that drill in his classes. I took a couple of his classes, and hell, man, I do that drill at the beginning of the day every single time. And this is the cool part about it. And one of the cool things with the now drill is You know, you're not sitting there dry firing. You're not sitting there, you know, over there shooting and then start the class. Hey, this is how I'm going to shoot at the very beginning of the day. You know, if you're in engagement out there as you're trying to protect yourself, your family, your loved ones, or so on and so on, you're not going to be able to, you know, when some crook, you know, or thief comes up and says, give me your wallet, you're not going to say, wait a second, I'm going to dry fire 10 rounds. Okay, now I'm ready to give you my wallet, and then shoot a nice little, you know, shot group into his, you know, Abdullah Amvangada, or, you know, into his pelvic girdle or whatever. You know, 9 times out of the time, you know, whenever I shoot a shot group like this under a stressful environment, you know, and I've never been in a stressful environment in the States where I shot my gun, but I've been in that situation a few times overseas. I can tell you, under stress of somebody shooting at you, somebody in front of you that's a threat, that shot group's probably going to get a little bit smaller. So what we're trying to do in these classes is tighten up your shot group. Not necessarily in the class, I'm giving you the amount of ammo, the stuff that you need, the drills that you can do, and we talk about it all the time, and that's the difference between practicing and training. You know, we're out here training during these classes, you train, and at the end of the day, if you guys are giving each other a high five, you got your certificate from ZERT, and then you sit on all that information, you sit on all that knowledge, you don't practice those drills, you know, well, what the hell are you even doing the class for? Just for a certificate? Hang out with your buddies? You guys should be dry firing, training, and practicing these drills until, you know, you don't do this stuff until you get it right. You do it until you can't get it wrong. You guys have heard that, you know, many times. But I'm kind of going back and forth again. Like I said, I put a little AAR thing on my computer. I guess I didn't save it because it's gone. But Detroit, you guys were amazing. You did awesome. You shot well. It's a testament to yourselves. At the beginning of the day, what your shot groups looked like, and at the end of the day, you know, like I said, I had a few guys that were down on themselves. Had an individual with a 1911. Every time he shot him, you know, every magazine he put on his gun jammed. The very first drill we did, you know, we did the now drill, was a gun drill. You know, he sat there and looked at it for about 10 seconds. You know, you know, at the end of the day, he was clearing those jams to a point where I didn't even realize he had a jam. You know, I would look down, he was putting his, you know, he was doing immediate action, putting his gun right back up, putting rounds back on target. That's what I like to see. That's the standard. Guys, jams are going to happen. Malfunctions are going to happen. It's what you do about it whenever it happens. And hopefully you guys took a lot from that class. I think everybody had a malfunction. I mean, if it wasn't anything, it was self-induced malfunction. But, you know, like I talked about in the class, and I want to reiterate this point, there was no point. I could be out there sitting there hollering, screaming at you guys. I'm not putting any stress on you guys at all. Stress is self-induced, guys. If I'm putting stress on you, you're letting it happen. It's huge in competition shooting. That's why we push competition shooting so much here. We want you guys to go out and shoot competitions because the pro timer induces stress. It doesn't. You just let it induce stress. You know, having an instructor there right behind you, critiquing you, XP001 sitting right there, critiquing you. What? How long has it gone?
23 minutes.
Hey, I can talk. Hey, we're here to talk about AAR comments here. You can edit this section out or keep it. Or put in a little blooper drill at the end.
Fine, man. Roll.
But you know, like I said, guys, when I go to the range and shoot with XP001 and he's sitting there with the camera in my face, if I let that stress me out, it's got nothing to do with the camera. It's got everything to do with me. So the more you're in these situations of shooting around people, putting the pro timer next to your ear, shooting around all your friends and everybody's watching you, hey, none of that stress is going to be anything compared to a dude with a gun that's trying to hurt you or hurt your family, your loved ones, so on and so on. So hitting a few of the key points that we talked about during the AAR at the end of the day, you know, just like you guys did with your class, hey, you guys did fantastic. And there's nothing, I wouldn't change anything in the class except for maybe a little bit of the engineering at the range, but you know what? It is what it is. We went with it. We accomplished the mission. The biggest point that I'll talk about is safety in these classes. That's my biggest AR comment every single time. Beginning of the day, excuse me, was there a couple issues? Absolutely. You guys paid good money for these classes. You know, I don't expect anybody to flag anybody, but also it's a situation where you go there to learn. Somebody, you know, there's an issue at the beginning of the day, somebody has a safety issue. You know what? It's a learning experience depending on how bad it is or how good it is or how minute that issue is. Hey man, drive on, learn from that experience. And I'm not saying that we were out there flagging each other, so on and so on. That is not the case. But a few safety issues, you learn from it, you grow from it, you drive on, and you get better. And that's what it should be. You know, I've done competitions where, you know, and that's the cool thing about Las Vegas. I got two pistol matches this weekend here in Las Vegas. I'm going to St. George next weekend for a multi-gun match. But some of these big events, you have one safety issue, you're gone for the rest of the day. You know, but some of the, you know, smaller events, you know, local small events, hey man, they completely realize that you guys are out there learning. You know, we had dudes in this class that picked up a gun a month before the class. We had other guys that have been shooting since they were 5 years old. You know, you got different levels, different experience, and, you know, hopefully at the end of every one of our classes, all 4 6-hour classes, you know, everybody got something out of it. So in saying that, one of my AAR comments is I will definitely get that list of drills, post it, you know, to the Michigan Z.E.R.T crew, just so you have something to reference. If you guys have any questions at all with these drills, like, oh, what was that one drill that we did, you know, send me a message, put it on the Michigan page, do that little thing where you can put my name, and my name's highlighted in blue, so it comes up on my Facebook, and then I can click on it. It's like, oh yeah, now I'm tagged in that, you know, that discussion or that post, and then I'll talk about it. But like I said, guys, I think I'm rolling on about 30 minutes now, talking about pretty much nothing. Great job, Michigan. You guys pretty much definitely, you know, you did great. You did amazing. Great shooting, great motivation. The motivation was huge. You know, at the end of the day, I was planning on at 8 p.m. going straight to the hotel, grabbing a sandwich. But I think I left on Saturday night. I ended up leaving at like 11. On Sunday, I left after midnight. We were all huddled, you know, in chairs, grabbing a couple beers, talking about junk, just having a great time, getting to know each other. I'm definitely looking forward to going back to Michigan, going back to this area, training with each and every one of you guys. I had a great time. Definitely looking forward to the food again, and putting some rounds down range, fix the range, so we can have a good time.
It'll be a different range.
Okay, it might be a different range. Who knows? I'm not in charge of this stuff. You know, headquarters coordinates all this stuff, and I go out there and teach and have a good time and have a blast. So thanks again, Michigan, for having me, and I look forward to the next time. And Mr. X out.
ZERT's mission is to support law-abiding citizens taking their skills to the next level. We provide training opportunities and a wealth of knowledge via ZERT's global network of like-minded individuals. Each ZERT member can take it as far as they wish to go. You can take part in ZERT training, ZERT online training, network with individuals in your area via the forums or private Facebook pages, attend meet and greets in your state or county, or have fun collecting the unique gear ZERT has to offer. We have members from all walks of life, and our emphasis is on creating a safe, fun, and mature community for all involved. When you think of ZERT, consider the term lifestyle. Lifestyle can denote the interests, opinions, behaviors, and behavioral orientations of an individual, group, or culture. By definition, ZERT is a lifestyle. ZERT's instructor cadre is made up of Special Forces instructors who use their vast knowledge and real-world experience to teach civilian members. ZERT's goal is to elevate the level of education and safety in the training industry. ZERT is not just an organization. It's a lifestyle. ZERTnation.com